Hey love, welcome to my channel. I am so happy that you're here. Today we are talking about a real life example of how and why you want to rest for success. And I'm going to be sharing my personal story on why I took a week-long work vacation to Madrid during my previous or last frequent launch. Again, whether you are running a business and you have launches, or whether you are climbing up the ladder in your career and you're trying to get a new promotion, or you have another goal that you're working towards, what this really means for you is why rest is so important into achieving the goal that you're going for right now, why you want to be incorporating that. So I'm going to be sharing exactly how I did that, why it's so important, and how you can do that as well. Before we dive in, make sure you scroll down to that subscribe button, click it, join us in our community here, like this video, and leave your comment at the end. Let me know what your biggest takeaway or aha moment was. And if you think you could rest for success and take a week vacation, maybe not to Madrid, but somewhere else, and let me know where you would want to go. Before we go into the topic for today, make sure you also check out the links in the description below. You can find 3 free gifts to really get you started on this work, implementing it into your everyday life in a really easy and accessible way. We have calendars, we have workbooks, all those goodies are right there. There's a free masterclass for you to get on and really start to engage at a deeper level with these topics to really get that deeper transformation, essentially. You can also join our waitlist for our courses, Rest for Success and the Aligned Productivity Academy. And there are also some very accessible ways for you to get one-on-one support from me. So all of that is in the description below. Make sure you go check that out. All right, let's get into our video for today. So why do we want to rest for success? And why did I do a crazy thing like taking a week away from my desk, from my office during a very important launch in order to go have fun? That sounds a little bit nutty, right? Everything that we've ever been taught about work and achievements and creating success has always been around, you need to put your head down and get to work, right? And so to hear someone tell you, actually, you want to do the exact opposite, you're like, you are crazy. What are you trying to say to me right now, right? So I want to share with you why I decided to go to Madrid for a week. When I teach my work, when I talk about work-life balance and the way that I teach it, we really talk about this energy scale. We talk about the masculine energy, which is how we show up to work and how we show up to creating. And then we talk about the feminine energy, which is how we receive what we want to be creating and how we initially get the intuitive hit and the guidance as to how we want to be creating it and what actions we need to take. So we have this scale that I really teach you how to use, because most of us are only in the masculine, and that's what society has taught us to do in terms of creating success. This is also where we hustle and push, and we would never imagine taking a break or a step away during a very important launch. The feminine has a different approach. And because what I do here is teach you to really balance out these energies, and because we're so heavily in the masculine, or we tend to be, what I teach is how to show up more in the feminine. And the feminine has everything to do with rest and play and pleasure and enjoyment of life, of feeling so grateful, of having space, of having this free range to just really be. Okay. And that is the space where there's so much expansiveness, where you have the ability to really tap into what is it that's calling me? How do I want to move forward on this project? What am I really excited about? How can I act on that right now? And then, of course, acting on it would be shifting back into the masculine to execute something. And then we want to come back to the feminine again. So when I'm going through a launch, and specifically this past course launch, what I know to be true about myself is that I am really, really good at getting everything organized. That is the masculine side to myself. And so towards the final weeks of a launch, most of the work that needs to get done in terms of content and promotion and emails and all of that stuff, it's pretty much done. And so if I am sitting through a work day, and I work less than 25 hours a week, so these are short work days. That's what I've set up for myself. And most of the work days when I'm not in a launch include client calls and content creation. Okay. So when I'm done with the content creation piece for that particular launch, and that's really what my goal personally is, because if it feels good and I can get it done, then I really get to just enjoy being in the launch and talking about it and being excited, as opposed to being in a masculine lack state of, oh, I'm not doing enough. I still have so much to do. I'm so stressed out. I need to be doing more. However, here's what I see happen all the time. And again, it doesn't matter whether you've got everything done or not before this big project or this big event or whatever it is that you're currently working towards. But what tends to happen is when we get down to crunch time, we start to have this belief that, oh my God, it's not going to work. Or am I doing enough to make it work, to make sure it works, to ensure the success of what I'm doing here? Does that resonate with you? I know it resonates for me. And so with that being said, the last thing that we really want to do is jam pack our days with so much work, because then we're just reiterating and reinforcing this belief in this narrative that I'm not doing enough and therefore I need to be doing more. And this often looks like adding more stuff to our to-do list last minute. When you add more things to your to-do list last minute like that, you are responding and acting from a place of fear and lack, because you believe and you feel like you haven't done enough and therefore you should be doing more. That's lack. And so you take action from a place of fear because you don't believe that what you're doing is enough to get you the results that you want. Even though when you first set out to create this plan, you set it up in a particular way. These were the things you believed you needed to do. They felt right. You were responding to that gut response of, this feels really good. I want to take action on this. That's how I teach you to lead with the feminine first, and not only create a plan based off of a big, massive checklist that might not even be relevant to you. And so when we get to this point, then we are essentially acting out of fear. And what this does, and this is where this huge mindset shift happens and where we really block ourselves from creating the results that we want, is when we're in lack and when we're in fear, we are creating resistance to the thing that we want, okay? Because like attracts like. And so if you are in this resistance and in this fear and in this belief of lack because I'm not doing enough or I'm not enough or it's not good enough, that is exactly what's going to be reflected back to you in the work and in your results. What you actually want to do is move into a place of excitement and ease and pleasure, tapping into this pleasure for life, tapping into this enjoyment for life, tapping into your gratitude for everything that's already happened, for the results that you already have, for the proof that this is working. Because as soon as you start focusing on that, you start to have those energies and results and feelings reflected back to you. Does that make sense? So why did I go to Madrid? Long story, long explanation to come back to this point. Is because when I do something like that, number one, I create an entirely new environment for myself. So I don't have any of my normal daily triggers that tell me, oh, what about doing this? We need to do more here. And we need to sit down at our office, at our desk every single day at this time. I like that kind of structure. So I'm really in that routine and in that flow. So moving myself out of that gives me a completely different sense of, how do I want to move through the day? I have to start tuning back in even more to, what do I want right now? So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, you're in a fun new place. So of course you're going to do fun new things. And what does that do? Well, it connects you and opens you up to pleasure, to enjoyment, to fun. These are all these feminine qualities. And when you're in those qualities and you're living in them predominantly, that's when you start receiving, or you're putting yourself in receiving mode, because you are receptive. You're not in this resistance place to attracting exactly what it is that you want in terms of what you're creating right now. So that is why putting rest into your strategy is so crucial. That is why I took my week off to Madrid. And literally the entire experience for me was going through the day, really being in that feminine. I was still working. I still worked a couple of days while I was there. I had client calls. I did some stuff for my lunch, but essentially knowing that most of it was done and that I didn't actually need to do more, it was really important to create an environment where I had other things to do outside of work that allowed me to tap into play and pleasure. Because I know that if I had stayed at my computer and created this forcing that I need to do more, of course, it was going to put me into a place of resistance. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway was, how this resonated with you. And again, where would you go for your week away? What country, what city, what place? Would it be the beach? Would it be a tour? Let me know. And I will see you back here next time.